Why small cities in India are declining commercially. Have you ever wondered why some cities boom while others fade? Today, we're diving into the commercial decline of small cities in India. Businesses are closing, young people are leaving, and streets are growing quieter. So let's explore this complex issue. The magnetism of metro's economic centralization. Let's be real, cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru, they're like magnets, pulling in investment and opportunity. It's a classic case of the Matthew effect. The more you have, the more you get. These metro areas have become hubs for industries like tech, finance, and entertainment, attracting massive capital and creating a self-perpetuating cycle of growth. But here's the problem. This economic centralization leaves smaller cities in the dust. They often rely on one or two industries, making them incredibly vulnerable to economic shocks. The urban exodus, migration, and brain drain. Imagine you're a young person in a small town. You've got big dreams, a good job, a comfortable life. But opportunities seem out of reach, so you head to the big city. This creates a vicious cycle. Small cities struggle as skilled workers leave. It's a classic case of brain drain, crippling communities. Roads to nowhere, infrastructure deficiencies. Okay, let's talk infrastructure. And no, I don't just mean fancy office buildings. I'm talking about the basics: reliable roads, consistent electricity, decent internet access, the essential building blocks for any thriving economy. Many smaller cities in India struggle with inadequate infrastructure. Poor transport links make it difficult for businesses to transport goods and for people to commute. Limited access to healthcare and education makes these cities less appealing to families. It's a classic chicken and egg problem. Businesses are hesitant to invest in places with poor infrastructure. But without those investments, improving infrastructure is nearly impossible. Now, let's be fair, starting a business anywhere is tough. But in smaller cities, it can feel like climbing a mountain with one hand tied behind your back. Private investors, those with the capital to make a real difference, are often wary of venturing outside major metropolitan areas. They see smaller cities as riskier, with lower potential returns. And to make matters worse, government policies often fail to incentivize investment in these regions. Without targeted policies that promote balanced development, the gap between big cities and smaller towns will only continue to widen. Think about it. Businesses thrive on customers, and in smaller cities, the customer base is inherently limited. This smaller market size can make it difficult for businesses to achieve the economies of scale needed to compete with larger corporations in metropolitan areas. Adding to the challenge is the issue of purchasing power. In many smaller cities, incomes are generally lower, meaning residents have less disposable income. This can make it challenging for businesses to attract customers, especially for non-essential goods and services. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Businesses struggle, people have fewer opportunities, and the cycle continues. Chapter 6. The Digital Divide, Technology, and the Future. We live in a digital age, but not everyone has equal access. Smaller cities and towns face a significant digital divide. They lag in internet penetration and digital literacy. This gap has profound consequences. It hinders business adoption of new technologies, limits access to online markets, and stunts digital economy growth. Chapter 7. Cultivating Potential, Education, and Skill Development. Imagine this, a young person full of potential, eager to learn and contribute. But their local schools lack the resources to provide a quality education. They dream of pursuing higher education, but the nearest university is hundreds of miles away. This is the reality for many in smaller cities and towns across India. The lack of quality educational institutions and vocational training centers severely limits the potential of the local workforce. Without access to the skills and knowledge needed in today's job market, young people find themselves trapped in a cycle of limited opportunities and unrealized potential. Chapter 8. A Shift in Aspirations, Cultural and Social Factors. Why don't people just stay and build up their own communities? We have to acknowledge the powerful cultural and social forces at play. For many young people, there's an allure to big city life. It represents opportunity, excitement, a chance to break free from tradition. Conversely, there's often a perceived stigma attached to staying in one's hometown. Outro: revitalizing our roots, a call to action. The decline of small cities in India is a complex issue. Ignoring the problem will have dire consequences for our nation. We need government policies, infrastructure improvement, and a collective effort. The future of India depends on revitalizing its smaller towns and cities. It's time to recognize their potential and invest in their growth.